What's good, YouTube neighborhood bullies, checking in with another video. And today I'm gonna be answering some questions I got about how much does it cost to really breed the American bully. And I got several messages, so I figured I'd just go ahead and make this one video to kind of answer them all at one time. So everything I'm finna go over today is gonna be completely on the low end. You know, we're just getting the low numbers right now because the numbers can be a lot higher than these, but we just gonna stick to the basics right now. And everything's gonna be on the low end. So let's just get into the video. First thing I'd recommend is starting a social media presence. Either it be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anywhere like that. You need to establish a name for yourself. People need to know that you're interested in the breeding game, or they need to have some kind of association with you and breeding dogs to build up a clientele. So yeah, I'd start advertising on Facebook, Instagram, posting pictures up of dogs that you may like, or sharing pictures of dogs that you may like, or stuff like that. Or if you have a kennel name established, you can go ahead and set up your kennel name, go ahead and get a logo done, get your logo copyrighted, everything like that. But that's just in the beginning stages. That's if you want to or not, but it's highly recommended. First thing you'll need to make sure you have is space. If you don't have the space to grow, well, it depends on what you're trying to get into as far as how big you're trying to grow as a breeder. If you just want to breed a couple dogs, or if you just want to breed about 20 to 30 dogs, the space is going to be a big factor in how much you can do and how much room you can really work with. So having the space is a big factor. Let's say if you have an apartment or something like that, it'd probably be best to start with a male. That way you could probably stud him out and not have to worry about your female dripping blood around the house when she's in heat, or trying to worry about somewhere to whelp the litter at or anything like that, because you're gonna need a lot of room when it comes to, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of room, but you're gonna need enough room when it comes to whelping puppies, so the mom and the puppies can have enough room to move around and do what they need to do. So the second thing, if you're gonna be outdoors, you're gonna need a kennel. I'd recommend to never sit the kennels directly on the grass, because what'll happen to dogs end up digging it up, or over time with them running over the grass, it's gonna turn into dirt, and you ain't gonna have nothing but a muddy mess when it rains. It's gonna be water puddles everywhere. The dog's gonna be running around in the mud. It's gonna be a mess. So I definitely recommend either building them up on concrete blocks, or you can build up kennels on wooden decks like I got myself, because I find that a lot easier than dealing with the wooden blocks. I find that a lot easier than dealing with the concrete slab blocks, because they're heavy and it just costs a lot more. So I go with the wood, but you can do whatever you want to do. So for the kennel, that'll be about $500 a piece. And if you start with a male and a female, that's $1,000 right there for 2 kennels. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and start the list off at $1,000. So next, of course, you'll need to do some studying, do some researching, look up a lot of breeders, make sure the person you're dealing with is somebody reputable and that has a lot of a lot of reviews, a lot of people that done dealt with them before, because you don't want to get into a situation where you send the guy your money, and once you send him the money, you never hear from him again. And that happens a lot of time in this bully game and in the dog game in general. So yeah, just make sure you do the proper research to know who you're dealing with, who you're getting your puppies from, and things like that. So again, on the low end, buying a dog, male or female, you're looking at around $1,500 to $3,000. So let's say you're getting yourself a male and a female. We're just gonna put it at a low of $3,000. And then next, once you get your puppies, you're gonna wanna get them checked up at your vet. It's best to have a vet already on standby, a vet that's close by your house, or if not close by, somebody that you trust, that anytime you need anything done, they're just a phone call away, and they already familiar with you, and they already familiar with what you're trying to do. So it's best to have a vet on standby. So once you get your puppies, that'll be about $150, roughly, to get your puppies checked out. So with 2 puppies, that'll be about $300. So we'll add the $300 to the list. And then next, before anything, you're definitely gonna have to pay for the food. let's just round it off at about $50 a bag. Let's say every 2 weeks. That's about $1,300 a year. So it's gonna cost a lot just to feed them, you know, before you even able to breed them. And usually they're not ready to breed till like 1.5 to 2 years. So yeah, you're spending about $1,300 to $2,000 just in feeding them before you can even do the breeding. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And then also your embark testing, which is your DNA testing for your dogs. They're roughly around $150 a piece. So you got 2 dogs, that's about $300 for the embark testing. To make sure they genetically tested and to get the testing for the hips and everything like that. So yeah, your embark testing, $150 each, 2 dogs, $300. Okay, and then once you finally do get around the time to breed, you're gonna wanna get your progesterone test, and that's gonna test the numbers to let your dogs know when they're ovulating and when they're ready to breed. Good numbers is around 5 or so when you're going into the breed. Sometimes the vet recommend you starting around 4 or something like that, but 5 is usually a good number to start your breedings at. So about $70 each time. Sometimes you might run that 2 or 3 times. Let's just say 3 times, that's about $210. So we're gonna also add that to the list for your progesterone test. Now you can either do the breeding yourself, or if you're not familiar with how to do a breeding or anything like that, you've never done one before, you can take the dogs to a vet and the vets will do the AI for you. Well, the ones that do the AI, they will do it for you for around $65, $70, something like that, depending on where you go. So yeah, to get an AI done at the vet, about $70. And then after about 60 days have passed or so, it'll be about time for you to have the puppies. So before that, you will have to gather up a whole lot of puppy supplies, things like wipes, towels, heat lamps, puppy pads, cleaner, puppy bowls, supplements for the dogs, supplements for your female dogs. You'll need a whelping area. And again, all of this is on the low end, so probably roughly around $300 for all of that to have the area and the supplies to whelp your dogs in. And then when it's about time to have the puppies, you'll get what you call a reverse progesterone, which will tell you when the puppies will be ready to pull. I usually go between 60 to 61 days from the day I did the breeding to schedule when I would get my C-section done. But usually you can get your reverse progesterone. That'll tell you exactly when the dog is ready to have the puppies cut out or etc. So reverse progesterone, about $70 a piece. You get about 2 done. So let's just say about $140 for the reverse progesterone. Okay, now actually the C-section itself, depending on the breed that you breed, if you breed smaller breed dogs, more than likely you will need a C-section because the dog's heads are so big with, let's just say the American Bully breed, that the heads will get stuck in the birth canal. So that's usually the problem of getting stuck. The body will go through just fine, but the heads are so big that they'll get stuck in the birth canal and won't pass. So you'll have to get a C-section done to have them cut out. Or if you've already started the natural process of having a natural breeding or a natural delivery, I should say, then you'll have to get what they call an emergency C-section to get the puppies cut out if you notice that during the pushing, one of the puppies is stuck in the canal and you can't get it out yourself, or she can't push it out. So you'd have to get an emergency C-section done in that case. So if you schedule a C-section, it'll be roughly around $1,000. Again, it depends on where you go to, and that's on the low end. And like I said, if you run into any complications to where you gotta have an emergency C-section, that can run up to anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 to $3,500, depending on where you go to. So it's definitely best to schedule you a C-section whether you need it or not. It's best to need it. No, it's best to have it and not need it than to need it and don't have one scheduled. So yeah, let's just say about $1,000 for the C-section. And once the puppies are born and stuff like that, you will need deworming the puppies at 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 weeks is how I deworm my puppies. And that's something I do myself. The $35 bottle of parental, if I remember, I'll put a picture up on the screen. is the one I use for my puppies, and it's about $35 for about 36 ounces or something like that, if I ain't mistaken. But yeah, about $35 for the dewormer. And then when the puppies get about 6 weeks or so, it'll be time for their first round of shots. The shots is usually about $15 a piece. $15 a piece, let's just say you got about 5 puppies, that's $80 for your shots. And you do that at 6 weeks, 12 weeks, and 14 weeks is when I give my dogs their shots. And then also, once the puppies get to a certain age, the mom will stop licking the poop and licking the pee up, so you'll have to put them in a separate area. And then what I recommend is puppy shavings is what I use that has been best to keep the puppies clean, as far as running around and piss and poop and having piss and poop all on them. The puppy shavings usually help with that. They're pissing the shavings or pooping the shavings, and as they run around, the shavings will cover up where they use the bathroom at, and it's clean. You change them out probably every day or two, depending on how many puppies you got, and that's the best route I recommend, puppy shavings. They about $7 a bag. You get you about 5 bags, that's about $35. Then also, once the puppies grow up, after they're in the whelping area for a while, they'll need a place to go outside. So you'll need to buy another kennel for them as well. So that's about $500 for another kennel for your puppies. And if you're keeping a keeper that you want to keep separate from the rest of the puppies, that's another $500 for another kennel. So that's about $1,000 for 2 more kennels for your puppies and your keeper. And everything as far as advertising to be done probably with your phone, or if you can buy a camera, but I'd recommend just starting with your phone, because there's really no need to go out and buy an expensive camera unless you just really got it. And when you can just start with your phone, you know, get used to taking pictures and videos with your phone, and then you can upgrade to a camera once you get the hang of everything that you've done on your phone. But like I said, it's really not a big issue, because I've been using my phone for like the first 3 years, and I haven't really had a problem with it yet. So really in all, after all of that, that's over $9,000 that has been spent, and you haven't even made one single dime yet off of anything. And that's just, again, on the low end, $9,000, and you haven't made $1 yet. And then that's not to mention complications that can happen, like say your breeding don't take. That's money that wasted that you definitely can't get back, which you mostly won't get back your initial investment for the startup anyway, because, you know, a lot of startup money you just don't get back no way. You just got to be willing to invest in yourself. And if you're not, it's probably best you don't even get started. But females die, dogs fight, you might have to replace a dog that's died. All of this is money that you have to initially put in that you probably won't even get back. And then you got people that hit you up and ask, can they get a puppy for $200? Or can they get a puppy for $300? And don't even know everything that it takes to be able to get the puppy produced, you know, in a healthy way and the right way, to be able to have everything run smooth, and then, you know, to have the healthy puppy delivered to you. Well, I understand that as a client, you're not paying for my experience, you're not paying for everything that I put into the puppy, you're not paying for all of my knowledge, you're solely paying for a puppy. And that's definitely understandable. But with this puppy comes a whole lot of work that you have to put in, you know, behind the scenes that people don't really see. So yeah, these puppies, they definitely ain't cheap. And like the saying goes, you have to pay to play. So as you can see, just starting out as a breeder, the initial cost is through the roof, you know, to do things the right way. And like I said, this is just on the low end. It could be well over $15,000 to $20,000 if you're starting with multiple dogs. So like I said, if you really want to do this, you have to do the homework, you got to do the research, and you definitely need to be sure this is what you want to do before you get into it. Because I've seen a lot of breeders come in, they spend a lot of money, and they get frustrated with the lack of return in the first few years, and they go ahead and get out the game. So like I said, I've seen that several times, and I've only been into breeding bullies for about 2 to 3 years. So yeah, man, it takes a lot. It definitely takes dedication. It's a lot of things that wasn't even mentioned on this list. Like I said, this is just a quick run through of the basics it'll take to start a breeding program. But yeah, it takes a lot of dedication and money and time to build a successful program and knowledge. So without holding you for too much longer, it's Neighborhood Bullies. We're checking back out.